This is true. Do you know how much content I have shot that I've not released because I'm unhappy with my face?
You've explained it to me in great detail.
I got a fat booze head, and I'll sometimes film I spent like $6,000 on this taping in the Brisbane Powerhouse, and I got the footage back, and everyone was like, "It was a pretty good scene when you get it out there," and I was like, "No, I got a fat head."
I get it. When I first started comedy, I was like 25 kilos lighter. This is 2 years ago, and I've put it all on from having free beers like every night, and then having like a second dinner every night. And
it's bad for this business.
So now I look at like some of the stand-up clips, and I'm just like, I've just got this fat beer gut, and I look like a fucking idiot. And I'm like, nah. Like, even if I could be, the laughs are loud, the jokes are good. I'd be like, that's a viral clip, but I'm like, I look like an idiot. No, it's not going up.
The drug game's a better game for the body.
Absolutely.
Slimming.
Well,
you get a nice TV face.
Well, I mean, it's depends on how much you're doing, because I was doing so much coke that I would also stay up and drink like 10 bottles of wine. I don't know if you know this, but that's a lot of calories. And then
you want that Andrew O'Keefe. That's why Andrew O'Keefe looks so good. Andrew O'Keefe also suffered from the big head, so he went to the coke and the meth.
I knew a girl who ran
Is he in prison again?
No, I think he's just off telly.
At the moment. No. He was in a lot of trouble legally, but he kept getting locked up for domestic violence stuff.
Yeah, because like my mate used to work on the show with him, and she was like, honestly, he could work the room incredibly. Like he'd come in, he knew every single person's name. He was a fucking delight, but he got there 2 hours late and he just reeked of cigarettes.
But also at that point, like any of the junkies that we know, they have to know everyone personally because everyone is someone they can lean on when things go bad. You know?
It's very hard to ask someone, sorry, what's your name again? Can I have some cash?
But you're like Janelle, and she's like, oh, he remembers me from makeup. Yeah, I need money.
I had a friend.
How's the baby?
I had a friend who was a brothel receptionist, and she said
how'd
that.
you meet her?
But actually a receptionist, or like those girls that are like, I work at a strip club.
She was the admin girl at a brothel, and Andrew O'Keefe used to engage in their services a bit, and he would like not even have sex with them. He just wanted to he was really high and just wanted someone to talk to.
Dude, you should give him my phone number. I talk to everyone at all hours. I'm just up for a chat.
As a good friend of Amos Gill, I can confirm. Don't waste your money on an escort. As long as you're willing to listen to a couple of premises, you'll have him for 45 minutes minimum.
I'm like, Andrew, what's up? He's like, I'm throwing rocks at an ex-girlfriend's window. I'm like, great. While you're up, I've got this bit about racism that's not flying.
Let me talk you through the last 3 performances of it, blow by blow. I've realised this. A phone call with you is a minute by minute on the Guardian website. Just like the football text updates. It's just like that's how Amos is going to bring you through his show. 1 minute at a time.
I believe that for a while there, I'm a 4 to 5 hours on the phone a day person.
Yeah, I remember.
But I'm not a stock, like people in my building, this is not a joke. In my building in LA, my girlfriend said that some of her friends asked if I was like a stock guy because I'm just constantly yelling and screaming on my phone all the time. buy, sell. It's so much sadder when she's like, oh, he's not in finance. He's just sort of an unemployed comedian.
I really like it because I just overhear you saying like, now's the time. Talking about you putting a special out or I got to get out, man. Talking about the industry in general.
It's up. The views are up.
So are you talking, that's 5 hours to different people or is that one poor person?
It was Dan. He's dropped off. Dan doesn't pick up my calls anymore.
I screen Amos's calls and he knows. That's a part of our friendship.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a lunatic, you get a cycle of 5 friends and then you lean on one heavily and then they get tired. So you put them on the back burner. Then you get a new guy who's the lead. I've always got, much like a Sith Lord, I've always got an apprentice. And he travels with me everywhere. Then he wears himself out and I'm like, I got to find a fresh person.
And then you finally realise, this guy's not bringing my wife back. She's dead. It's over. He only cares about the fucking Death Star, dude. He doesn't care about me. Never asks how I'm going.
I called Dan the other day and I got no response. And then he messaged me back.
This is sitting on this?
Yeah, no, he messaged me back. Here it is. An article about Kurt Cobain. This is what it says. After I was done with the book, Kurt and I became friends. I don't claim to be his exclusive confidant or anything, but every once in a while the phone would ring in the wee hours of the morning. It was ridiculous that he would call and had no idea about time difference. He would call me at all hours of the morning. I always picked up. I was worried he was in a crisis. And if I didn't answer the phone, it would have been a crucial call. He would rail for ages about his management and his band. When he'd gotten everything off his chest and realised he'd spoke for about an hour compulsively about himself, he would pause and say, "So how are you?"
And this struck a chord with you. This was familiar stuff.
You could not, if you were fucking the FBI tapping the phone, you would not be able to describe it better.
Yeah.
And then when you say, "Oh yeah, I'm okay," and Amos like, "I gotta go."
No, okay, someone else is on the other line.
Yeah, sorry, someone else called back.
But I did point out to you, Kurt Cobain did kill himself, so that guy probably should have kept picking up the phone.
Well, he clearly did pick up the phone and it didn't help.
Well, this story hasn't ended, you know.
No, but there was a period where Dan, I'm glad you've got a podcast going, because this was Dan's idea for a podcast, was he once said to me, "I've been recording our calls." without telling me, he was just like, "I'm recording the calls and I'm just going to start putting them out as pods."
Oh.
And I was like, that could be a career killer.
Problematic,
For me.
but good content. Think about
mean,
the virality.
It's mostly just me doing this. Fuck the festival, man. They don't know what's good.
And the next day being like, "The festivals are great. Sold 300 last night. They loved it. It's good. I'm not going back to America. I don't need it. I just need to be here for this."
I think it was illegal.
No, because
you were
I think I checked. One-side phone taps in Australia are fine. And I think the fact that I told you that I was going to tap your calls means it's okay as well. And then you consented on a call that I was tapping.
Yeah, well,
being recorded.
You know what? I would have let you put them all out because you can't see my head. I'm like,
that's the
"Dan,
key."
don't release it. My head sounds fat."
Yeah.
I got fat guy voice.
You can hear the echo in my jowls.
How long has it been since you've been back in Australia?
I think I realistically left. I left pre-COVID, and then because of COVID, I moved back, and then I moved again in 2021.
Yeah.
So
Because you were in the US as I was in the UK.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was 2019.
But this is the first year. And people hate me for this, but I do feel more. I feel more not Australian now. Like I'm Australian, but don't feel like I live here anymore. I've kind of my first few years in America. I was annoyingly going to like Aussie events. I would watch Aussie news. I would be on news.com.au if I wanted to check something. It was always from an Australian perspective. I'm putting the footy on late night, and now I've actually just given in to being an American.
Yeah, okay, you've embraced it.
Well, because I used to mock immigrants and be like, "They fucking come here, and they should embrace Australian culture."
Yeah.
And then I moved to America, and I was like, "I'm not doing Halloween, not doing the NFL, not doing Thanksgiving." I'd have like Vegemite that I would buy for like $50, and I'd be like, "I'm gonna have that as a breakfast." And now I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm committing.
But even if you're just like doing regular like gigs there, do you still say I'm an Aussie guy?
I try not to.
Yeah.
I don't like doing the whole like, back in my country.
Yeah.
But if you don't, they do look at you like, "Why is he not mentioning it?"
Yeah, okay.
Well, you got to give him
Acknowledge
something.
it quickly.
Like it's just like, why does he talk like that? You just got to answer
I
that
know, but
question.
it's fucking
is he
boring.
is he like a weird form of deaf?
Well,
You
people
know?
think I'm
Like
from
it doesn't sound like I talk.
People think I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
In like, because you'll say like, "Oh, I got in the car," and like people from Texas might think you're from Boston or something, but they generally seem to like us over there. But I've turned on Australia when I've been back here for this festival. I think we're a bit soft.
We've gone soft.
Soft. You know
Australia's
why?
gone soft.
Not enough black dudes.
Not enough black dudes here.
That's Australia's weakness.
I mean,
Not
some
enough black
Australians would
dudes.
say too many.
No, with black dudes are the last men who are allowed to be toxic. And so that creates an environment that I love. Like black dudes in the States, no one's calling them out with like rap culture and everything for very high testosterone stuff. So it means you can get away with a lot more in what you're talking about. They're a very adversarial group.
So you're playing a lot of urban rooms over there,
I
man.
do a lot of urban. These bitches, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Next up at Chocolate
token
Sundays,
white guy.
Amos Gill.
No,
Let me tell you about my Croatian grandmother. No, this is the weirdest black dude ever.
No, I used to do this bit in there when I was like, "I love black Americans. You guys are great. It's who I relate to you the most because you're always camping. You know, just like we do in Australia. You're always in those tents." And they would
What a commentary on the homeless crisis. Thoughtful, lovely.
yeah, no, but I do miss that in when I go over here. Actually, Australia's very sensitive. How do you feel? Or am I just doing a terrible show this year?
I've
And people are rightfully like, "This is not good."
This is bad.
well, you're from Adelaide, right?
Yeah.
I've only done a couple of gigs here now, but it seemed like was not quite the Wild West of Perth, where like I was just saying insane things and people really loved it. It seemed like Adelaide is a bit more reserved. But you're from here. Do you think that?
Probably. But I also found Perth.
Yeah.
I think a big part of it is if when you've got your own audience, you're good.
Yeah.
When you're taking a gamble and people are just like, I've heard he's all right.
Yeah.
That's when you're in a world of trouble.
But that's like, I think that is like a point to reach in your comedy career. It's like, you ever seen people who put out like a YouTube special? I put one out recently, you should watch it. But like, if you put out a YouTube special and it's got like 5,000 views and every comment is really positive, it's because only your mates have watched it. You've got to get some of the general public in to hate you to prove that someone...
I remember
who shouldn't have seen it has seen it.
I've got a cousin from Adelaide.
Yeah.
Who runs...
I mean, I assume you got quite a few family here,
I've got a lot of cousins, bro.
You're fucking from Adelaide. I got a cousin from here, and a mum, and a dad, and a brother.
Fucking what?
My little cousin runs a food blogging page. And she was at the time of this about 21, and she has like 80,000 followers about like where to eat in Adelaide. And she wants to support me.
Look at the care he's taking to not plug this blog. At any point, he could name it, say the Instagram handle. He's like, my fucking cousin's doing better than me. I don't want to give her a shout out.
Don't give her a fucking shout out. She knows nothing about food. I don't know how she's done it. She's blagged our way through it. Absolute bullshit. But her page has got good reach here. And she was like, I'm going to help you this Fringe. And she shared one of my clips. And I was like, thanks. She shared my women's footies shit clip. And I was like, I'm not sure that was the one you should have put out there on your girls' brunch page.
Totally.
And that clip, I got, I think, like 1,000 messages about what a piece of shit I was. And
only 1,000.
Maybe
It was
maybe
actually
more.
the entire crowd of the WAFL.
But it like circulated.
At half time, they're just like, "Oi, can you message Amos Gill and call him a dog?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure."
And that's where you're like, do I want to reach a broad group, or do I just want to find the people that...
Do I want to reach a group of broads? No, it's not you. Not with your comedy. You hate women. Like, come on, it's well established. It's documented.
Well, it starts with my mother and it works down from there.
This is genuinely a catchphrase in Amos and I's friendship. Man most in need of therapy in the world. Amos Gill.
And I'm not getting it. No. I'm not going to work through those weeds. There's stuff hiding in there. That's like all the people that go to me, man, DMT. I'm like, there's no need for me to really see what's happening.
Have you tried any psychedelics?
I've had like, at most, I've done some like edibles.
Yeah.
I did what's that, salvia?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That wasn't pleasant.
Have you tried mushrooms?
No, I haven't tried mushrooms. I don't wish to connect with anything else.
All right.
I've got a delicate balance. I'm afraid that bad things could seep out.
Surprise, we've drugged your water. It should kick in 20 minutes.
No, maybe I'll give it a go.
Well, introspection.
No, yeah.
I wouldn't.
You can have psychedelics without the introspection. We can just sit here and talk about how the walls are colourful, and we don't have to get too deep.
But everybody I know who's gone down the DMT or the ayahuasca path keeps talking about their ego death so incessantly that I'm like, that ego's fighting back, huh? you seem to make every barbecue we have about your ego death. So you're not really sharing the mic on anything else except for the fact that you no longer have an ego.
You got an ego zombie now, just fucking going around.
Yeah.
I used to sell mushrooms to this South African dude who kept trying to invite me for these weekends away where they would have an ayahuasca ceremony and they'd all wear like white robes in the middle of fucking nowhere, and they had like a rehearsal ceremony before they do the official one where they all like have the ayahuasca and say weird shit to each other.
They do a rehearsal?
Yeah,
like a
they do
fucking wedding?
Yeah, like for a drug ceremony.
Hey guys, you're really going to want to nail your lines tomorrow. Let's just get through this. Can we check that outfit, please?
Well, like anytime he was at my house, he's like, Hammer, you've got to come to this ceremony. And just the way he said it, I felt like I would be sacrificed at this ceremony.
Yeah, because it's an African accent. It's threatening.
The touch. It's the touch and the look. And I was like,
and a South African dude in white robes. Just a bit of a concern.
I don't want to get that spiritual on my drug experience. I just want to laugh with my friends about how like my dick was talking to me and like that we're watching the Tour de France and we're focusing.
But I've never really seen someone have this enormous break. Like the people that I doing psychedelics and have a fun time. Like a good, good for them. But everyone I know who's like, it's changed my worldview is now ostracized and living in a bin.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They're not the poster boy for this, are they? Yeah, okay, that's fair.
like you'll never see the world again. And I'm like, wait, by that do you mean the insides of a home? Because you're a streetwalker now.
It changed my worldview, and now I just did my taxes on time. My wife and I had a recommitment ceremony. It's going great. It's like, no, it's not. You don't know your kids' middle names anymore, you fucking idiot.
I just realized everything was pointless. And I don't need that. I'm looking for meaning, not finding out that there is no meaning.
Yeah.
That's my fear. I'm pushing meaning in. That's why I'm going back to Catholicism.
Yeah, he's going to church. He's become more American.
Really?
Well, I'm just reconnecting with the Wog roots. I've given nihilism a 10-year run, and it's not served me too well. So I'm trying to build some safeguards to my personality. Otherwise,
Through stained glass windows and guilt.
yeah, I like it's good. I think I had an argument the other night at the Fringe about this. I told you about it the other thing. I was talking with this guy because my show's very sex not positive. I've been told.
Sex not positive. You're not positive about sex?
Well, I basically am saying that shame is crucial, and we need to be ashamed again. And that shame has been stripped away from sex.
But shame is one of my favourite parts of sex.
This is what I said to there was a sexologist.
That's why you
there.
cuddle after.
There was a
We
sexologist.
both made a horrible mistake.
Oh God, what's Satan going to do to us? Hold me.
Hold me. Let's go to hell together.
This sexologist was at my show, and she came up to me afterwards and was just like, what you're spreading about sex is like, I disagree with you. I like you, but I just think like you need to be way more sex positive. And she was about 23, and I said, your generation with this, there is no shame to sex, has taken all the taboo and kink out of it. And I go, let me give you an example of like, you think your orgasm that you're having right now in this, I deserve this, and this is good and this is natural, is nowhere near as good as a family first senator who stumps a speech about family values and fucks a young boy in the ass in a bathhouse. His orgasm, I assure you, because of the shame that he's feeling, is way better than whatever vibrator you've got drilling down in your clit thinking it's a feminist act. It was a weird bit of crowd work.
And what did the senator think of that bit?
You know, she was like, okay, I see where you're coming from a different like kink angle.
I just like the idea. It's just how we could role play that maybe.
Yeah, I want the
shame.
I liked this.
You want to be inside a woman and thinking about what your mother thinks about your choices.
When you're like grew up in a firmly ethnic Catholic community.
I mean, as Hammer and I would know heaps about.
Yeah, this is
Relatable stuff.
You guys
Keep going, brother.
Wasps here, huh?
We're family Catholic, but we're white as fuck, baby. Welcome to the
Well,
Catholic.
you guys both Catholic?
Yeah, Catholic school. And I was raised Catholic. Went to Protestant school.
Yeah. So the thing about
I'm confirmed, brother.
I love rigidity. I've learnt that. I liked a very strict world and being the person tearing it down. It's fun. It's fun when there's like authority figures and you can tear them down. But now that all the authority figures have been torn down, I don't find it fun in here anymore.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Because you don't get to be a rebel.
There's no rebellious thing when everything goes. It's not punk anymore to be making fun of. You know when people like make fun of the church now, you're like, oh, you got them. It's like it's over. They lost. That's why I'm coming back. Because now that feels to be the edgy thing to do.
Now the rebel being devout.
Yes.
It's like you
at
and
the arts festival. But you try and be a
flipping the
buttoned
script.
up Catholic conservative in the comedy community like James McCann. That's got a bit more razzmatazz to it.
And I like to use the James McCann adjective to describe him there. Razzmatazz.
Well, it's also like
I listen to the Latin Bible.
I also got like a necklace. I went and got the crucifix back out, and I was like,
Do you rock that out in public? Where are you wearing it?
I don't know. It's a bit gauche, isn't it?
Just when he jerks off. puts it on for a nice sesh.
Look at
Just
those.
flagellates.
Watch me now, God. Shame.
But like, that's it. There is nothing.
Amos is the
kinkier.
only guy who's masturbated to that scene in Game of Thrones where she rings a bell and says shame. He's just there jerking it the whole way. Being like a naked chick and the word shame and a nun? Fucking sign me up, cunt. I'll come twice.
How many women would love that experience on a sexual front? To be shamed like that.
Not as many as you think. And this is why the therapy thing is making more sense, isn't it, Hammer? Every chick secretly wants to be shamed in the town square. You know the other thing
Not
more
everyone.
shameful than that? Fucking Amos
I'll
Gill.
never come harder.
No, because everyone says, like, I'm going to do this kink and that kink. But if you're a Catholic, you know that whatever you do that's dirty, you're going to be tortured forever in hell. That is as S&M as it gets.
But but I'm married though. So I think I'm allowed to fuck now
Yeah, of course.
and not go to hell.
Of course you are. You're trying to
Can
make
I
children.
Can I do dirty stuff in there?
What dirty stuff can you do in there?
I'm not
sodomy.
Sodomy.
Yeah, I'm not a look. I'm not a fucking hardcore here.
I'm not a hardcore Catholic. I'm the hardcores go sodomy.
I'm not into hardcore sodomy. You know, I still use lube.
Nice.
I'm not raw dogging that shit. I'm not
the
an animal.
devil's slippery dip.
Devil's grease. We put you
If
straight
there, was
in
a
hell.
if there was a brand of lube called Devil's Grace, you could fucking sell out of that at Mardi
man.
Gras in 7 seconds.
Fucking oath.
Dude, we have
Absolutely.
got to make Devil's grease.
We gotta make Devil's Grace,
It's
bro.
just fucking
I just used it as
WD-40.
hair gel.
Surely that's already out there. That seems like a.
We'll go to Bunnings. We'll just get some of that fucking industrial grease, Devil's grease.
No, we use Hammer's pass of the drug game. We just spray a saucepan full of WD-40.
WD-40.
Get it into a nice powder. He wants to snort some Devil's Grease. My butt's never been looser. I like it.
Industrial strength, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What was I trying to even fucking say? No, because I know you said to me you were going to talk to me about school.
Well, I was going to ask you what school you went to because it's the Sydney podcast and there's nothing more Sydney than asking people what school they went to.
Yeah, see,
You find that right, Hammer. That's not just me. That's a very Sydney question.
It is very Sydney, yeah.
But we said that's the most Adelaide question, also.
It's our fucking question, mate.
No, but I'm saying
Enjoy your fucking grid system, but we come up with a question.
we all ask, what school did you go to?
Yeah, it's because you probably went there. There's like 3 schools here. Like,
That's
come on.
the point. It's mocked here. People always go, why do people ask you what school you went to? And I understand that there's like some connotations like, it's like a way for private school kids to be like, I went to this school. But in Adelaide, it's legitimately like, you went to that school. Do you know my cousin? You know what I mean?
She's got a food blog. Your restaurant's probably been featured on it.
Most times I've been asked it recently has been in courtrooms. It's usually a judge going, wait, what school did you go to? And I said, I went to Riverview. Like, oh, private school boy. Oh, sorry, wait, we locked you up?
You went to Riverview?
Yeah, I went to Riverview, yeah.
My friend's dad was the principal there. And still is. Dr. Paul Hahn.
Oh, right. Okay, so he was after my time. I was in the time of Hogan.
In the time of like Anna Domine or whatever the fuck it is.
He was at. I remember a time there. Okay, did you ever meet my friend Adam? He's a teacher. And he taught at Shaw.
Because this was like, by the way, my introduction to Amos was doing a gig at the Manly Boat Shed, which is horrific. But Amos was the MC and he was very good and he did well. And I was very impressed with this new comedian. And then I remember like, oh, can I get a lift home? Yeah, like drop me in like, was it Mossman or something?
Oh yeah, I was.
Was it drop you like at Riverview?
I was staying
on campus.
I was staying on campus at the principal's house.
Yeah, and I was just like, that's why I like this guy. It's just the private school blazer just kind of comes out of my skin. Like,
You just
I've
reminded
met
me.
another one.
So, is Dr. Paul Hyde, is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay, so I get emails every now and then from Dr. Paul Hyde at Review. I must be signed up as an old boy to sign up email.
Yeah.
But the only updates I ever get is like about this ongoing investigation of a priest that worked at the school that molested a couple of guys like 30 years ago. And it's just like, hey, just let you know what's happening with the case. That's the only correspondence I get.
Well, he taught here in Adelaide at Blackfriars Priory School, which is an all-boys school here. And then they had all these historic sex crimes as well. And he was the principal there. And I used to be at Adam's house here in Adelaide, and the press would be like out the front waiting for comments. So we'd go over for like a sleepover at his house, and the press would be there like talking to people like my dad, like, and how do you feel knowing that the principal of this school is yet to address the historic sex crimes? And my dad's just like, well, he's not raping the boys.
He's a good bloke, mate.
Nothing wrong with Doc Hyde. It happened in the 60s. What? We leave the fucking fella alone.
My son's in there right now and he's fine. I've checked his anus.
Here we go.
No perforations.
This was last month. I had an update from Dr. Paul Hyde.
I love that Riverview has a fucking true crime blog.
Today, former member of staff, Father Theo Overberg, was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment after being found guilty of charges of indecent assault against 2 former students in the 70s.
2 years?
2 years.
They must have used the devil's grease. Those boys had no pain. Yeah, in mitigating factors, Your Honour, he did use the devil's grease.
And he did pay for the cab home.
But my Adam taught at Shaw, and so it was bizarre because he lived in the boarding house
I'm sure.
of Shaw, and so when I'd come to
You
stay
stayed in the
Sydney-
boarding house?
I did. I got kicked. I'm the only guy, I think, from my understanding, who's been kicked out of the boarding house twice. Usually they don't let you back in.
I used to go out there. We used to get on the piss, and then we'd go home at like 4:30 in the morning, 5 a.m. And there'd be like cross country kids would be running, and they'd be like, "Mr. Hine, Mr. Hine. And he'd be like, fuck, Amos, you're going to have to hide. there was this guy teaching there at the time.
Sneaking a dude into your room at the boarding house.
There's a guy called James. Used to teach there. He was just he was a good bloke, but he was a real pig of a man. He went to Oxford and Harvard, and he was a teacher at Shaw, for one year. He was the most arrogant man I've ever seen in my life. He'd go and talk to girls in somewhere in Sydney, we'd be out, and they would reject him. And he'd go, good decision, sweetheart. I only went to fucking Harvard. What would you know? What would you know? To turn down a man that rode for Oxford and Harvard. Fucking clueless.
That's a man that's a bulletproof dude right there.
You look at that
Did
guy.
he actually talk like Winston Churchill?
He spoke like that. My name's James. I could do comedy if I was put up to the task. I've decided to be rich.
As a teacher, yeah, good luck, cunt.
He was a kind of a bloke. I did understand the disdain for some, because like Adelaide schools, I went to a private school here called Mercedes, which was a Catholic co-ed school.
Catholic co-ed.
That's
just like punching God in the face.
Well, it was a girls' school up until like the 80s, and then they made it a co-ed school.
Yeah.
And so we were always mocked as like the low end, but it was the WOG school. Because Adelaide doesn't have a lot of Catholics, so all the WOGs go to that one school, and so we become like a unionised WOG group of like, that's the odd thing about Australia is that if you're Croatian, which I am, Italian, Lebo, you're all Catholics, and so you put into the one group.
I mean, I have heard famously some Lebos aren't Catholics, mate. Just putting that out there.
My school didn't talk about that.
Maybe the ones that got let into Adelaide. But in Sydney, we've actually got a couple of Muslims, mate. You should check it out.
Well, that reminds me of being in a yard, and it'd be like all the Muslim dudes would be like in the corner praying, and then like one of the boys would say to me like, "Oh, one of the Lebos dropped a coin." That's why they're all looking for a coin, like it was just a joke, because they're all like on their knees praying.
Did you?
And I was like, just so you know, like not all like Lebo, like a lot of Lebos are actually Catholic, and it just got it was like a point that I shouldn't have made, because when I was trying to head,
I've never thought of correcting someone in a corrections facility. I'll let the guards do that. I'm in here to learn.
Well, it was like, they're Middle Eastern, yes, but like not all of them are Lebanese, and also Lebanese, a lot of them are Catholic. So like, I wouldn't be.
Of course, there's also the Coptics, but they were from Egypt originally. But there is a big community over there. But nonetheless, I appreciate your point. A lot of them are French. So let's not forget the French.
And I'm trying to tell this to a guy who's in there for a double homicide.
Cut the hammer in the corner.
This is a guy who's in there for a double homicide. I'm like, I'm wasting my breath.
I'm just imagining cut to hammer in the corner praying. I just feel better over here.
There was one white dude who like would join in, and like, but you could tell like he just didn't get respect out of them, because he was just like.
Did you ever think about going Muslim?
No,
Did you see many people go Muslim for like to
well,
find
that's
the
what I
group?
think. This guy like converted just because he was lonely, right? It was like then you're a part of a crew, but they
He
don't.
comes out as Hamo X. He's a leader of his people.
Well, okay, so
Peace
what
be
group?
upon you, brother.
What group would
Inshallah.
I go into? Do you think? I think I'd have to lean WOG. I couldn't do Aryan Brotherhood.
No.
I mean,
They wouldn't have you.
They wouldn't accept this. I'd have their views, but they wouldn't have me.
Brothers, we got more in common than you think.
Come on.
I think even with me, they'd be like, come on, mate, you must be. And I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah. No, so is there a WOG group, and then there's a Muslim group, and then there's like, what? Like if you just want to be like a regular keep your head down bloke, where do you go?
It only really kind of breaks into races when there's fights. Other than that, it's just a melting pot. Everyone can mix with everyone.
So it's not like American, like, do you ever watch those American prisons things and think that's so much more hardcore than what you went to? Or
Absolutely, yeah. It's nothing like that. It's not, I don't get in there and immediately have to get like a swastika and like, like you're
It's
part
just to pretend me from the Latin Kings.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be so funny if you had watched so many prison documentaries from America over the years that on your first day, you just walked into a prison and knocked a cunt out. And they're like, what the fuck was that?
I start saying all this racist.
What?
I start saying all this racist stuff, and it's just white dudes being like, "Dude, that's actually quite offensive. Like, can you rein that in?"
Just cut a sword sticker onto your chest. Let's fucking go.
No, it's just there, like it's like drawn in on permanent marker.
Yeah,
He's
and-
doing bench presses, and you're just like, is this not how it's done?
Some white guy's like, my grandfather actually fought the Nazis, man. That's deeply offensive to me.
You're coming on a bit strong, Hamo.
That reminded me when I was in quarantine and this trans inmate came in with long hair that she got locked away, and like two of us at the same time went shotgun, and I was thinking, like
A couple of gags.
and in my head I'm like, these days actually like the boys don't realise in prison that they could be cancelled for some of the things that they say, and like, that's quite problematic.
Wait, so you actually had trans were
She was only in there for a day, and then I think she got moved to like, because you hear these stories famously of them of trans inmates being put in women's prison and then like impregnating like two of them. You know?
Yeah, that's
So
Anyone want to grab the first, take the first bite of that?
I'm sure that's people have spoken about this before, but if you're getting a long stretch, you do transit. Like a women's prison's a better place to be.
yeah.
So how like as a person who was going to be a defense lawyer, would that not be?
It's fucking this angle you're playing of like who's going to do defense.
I did one trial.
Yeah, sitting next to your mate,
Yeah,
passing him water.
I Dennis denuded it. I did one trial in COVID. It was a assault, blackmail, and witness tampering.
You got to
case.
understand, during COVID, where Amos couldn't be a comedian, he tried out every career possible that you could get into without any effort.
And what, law was one of them?
Well, I have
He'd done a law degree,
degree.
and he just had a mate who was a barrister. I was like, "Oh, can I just go in?"
I had a mate, and he got into chambers.
Yeah.
And he was like, I have this trial coming up, and I just want a friend. Because he'd been working for, this is his first go as his assault barrister. He was like, you can come and do like some, you can basically do my admin and be my junior. But like knowing my arrogant personality, I was already like, have we thought about this as an angle? And he was like, yes, I have. I've already thought about it and thrown it away because it's a bad one. Like, make no mistake, you're here for the lunches and the camaraderie.
So
you're a wag.
You haven't had to do
You're
the
a
bar
wag in
exam?
court.
Have you had to do the bar?
I have not done.
He doesn't speak in court. He's just sitting there.
I
But
was
I
doing-
don't know,
I
like
was
to
doing-
be even in there, do you have to have the
No,
exam?
you're
Oh,
just sitting down.
right. Just a guy.
I was working on the bar at the
guy.
time because at the time I was done with comedy. I was
Yeah.
like, I think I'm going to have a life in Adelaide as a lawyer.
I can't emphasize how many different lives you thought he might have had. Mary and I were like, Amos, you'd really like the TV show Homeland. 2 days later, he's calling us being like, it's the perfect cover. A comedian who's a spy. I can work for the CIA.
There we go.
Does ASIO have a website? You went to the ASIO website and looked up job openings.
It's not a joke. After 2 weeks at Dan's house watching Homeland, I was like, I really want to be in intelligence. And I applied at the ASIO website. And I tried to write it an application that as a touring international comedian, I am an amazing cover to go into places with a reason to be there and also to spread ASIO misinformation.
I mean, sure, you might have got rejected, but I think just as a TV show idea, that sounds like a lot of fun. I'd watch that. The Comedian Spy.
I wanted to do that.
Seinfeld undercover.
Yeah, what's the deal? What's the deal with this power plant you guys have got set up in there?
Walks into Kramer's in his apartment, bug on the phone. I was just eating cereal, Jerry. I promise. This isn't compromise.
I wanted that. I wanted a lot. Yeah. As if you guys, don't you ever feel that? I mean, how old are we? You're 37. I'm 32. You're
34.
30. It's like, this is the age where I'm going like, is this what it's going to be? You get one life, and I think I've done this for 10 years. It's okay. But like, don't you ever just want to have another career? But then you realise that takes a long time to get the skills up to do that. And so you're going to waste another 10 years. So I have to commit to this fucking thing. This is what it's going to be now, and I'm only alright at it. Fucking shit.
I'm still in the optimistic phase at the start of this, Amos.
Amos,
Don't
2 years
beat me
in.
down with...
That's good, isn't it? But it's like, and then you meet people who are like, because I started making money, like comedy money, early-ish because I had the radio.
Yeah.
And so I was like, and all my friends who had chosen other careers at that point were like young lawyers on 50 grand. And I was like, I have nailed this. But then the radio money stopped, and now I'm just doing stand-up money, and all my friends are actually making some proper fucking bank. And you're like, it's quite pathetic, isn't it? Just me going city to city going, trans, ooh. That's my job. Every year is to have a new take on the trans community or some fucking bullshit.
That's how some comedians have found it recently. Other people have, talked about getting an Uber or whatever. Just some of the classic jokes.
That is the two
Having
jokes.
a wife.
Having a wife.
Getting married, having kids.
Or going like, what is my angle on gender politics this year?
This year, we've got to change it up every year. Got to have a women's sport bit.
And I've exhausted them. You don't know how, when you
Amos, as your audience, we do feel exhausted.
when you've already accessed all your bigotry, where do you go next? Maybe I need DMT to be bigoted about other things.
Let me tell you something about the astral plane.
Open your mind.
Too many Asians. Way too many up there, mate.
I want to go to another dimension and hate everything in there.
Yeah, so I spoke to the higher power. Barely speaks English. No good. I think he was Jewish. Anyway. Imagine
this
coming
alien.
out of DMT more bigoted. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, you're in
They're in the White House everywhere.
These people in the shadow realm. Bloody poofters.
I walk in there, the higher power's sucking off the other higher power.
Stranger things. They are up to strange things in there, those blokes.
Anyway, I got this great idea for the devil's grease. Because I tell you, frictionless bumming up there. Unbelievable. Smooth as eggs.
That would be what I did with it. Mind expanding.
If I met someone who like genuinely took DMT and came back and was like, let me tell you about gay people. I'd be like, that's actually incredible.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, you can expand your mind all you like, but ultimately your personality is your personality. So you're going to be the same guy, just with more opportunities.
I like that you're treating like expanding your personality like an expansion team in the AFL. Still the same sport, mate. Now Sydney's playing it twice.
Yeah,
I would
anyway.
love to meet. I've never met. I would love to. If the floggers are out there. If anyone's ever had anyone that they've met who took DMT and just came back like right wing, just like hardcore, like I would fucking love that.
Yeah, man. I had this like hallucinogenic experience, and Hitler came to me, and he tapped me on the shoulder.
The Zig Heil power. There it is.
Yeah, so
I'm so glad you found a way to access me. It's been too long since we have spoken. My ideas have gone to waste. I can't write any books. But you, Amos.
1,000-year Reich still lives on, as long as people like you.
The fourth dimension is the Fourth Reich.
Yeah, man. I had some fucking ergot laced sauerkraut.
Oh man, I like that. For once, Hammer's staying out of the troublesome highlight. It's like, I want nothing to do with this.
You know, they've outlawed the swastika. Like, there's a lot of guys that have them tattooed on them that now have to get like do-over, like cover tattoos.
Because if you have it on you now, it's like a crime. Isn't
In
it?
Perth, in Western Australia, I don't know if it's probably nationwide now, but yeah,
Well,
you can get in prison for it.
that's a good competition for tattoo artists. Like, who can do the best design with the swastika like change? Like,
That's awesome. That's funny.
Yeah.
yeah, that's good content
That'll be for tattoo artists.
for tattoo artists. Like, who can do the best swastika cover up design? But you've got to still kind of incorporate. I guess you make it like a Buddhist theme.
You could just.
Wait, so a Buddhist not even allowed to show it anymore? That's harsh on the Buddhist community.
Well, there's goes in the reverse direction or something, isn't it?
I thought so. Yeah, it's like one's that way, one's that way. I don't know which way. Don't fucking look at me
the
like
thing
that.
is, it's not a strong argument as a white guy who's a Buddhist who's going, no, actually, you will find that mine is slightly different to the Nazi one. This is more.
It's a common misperception. Yeah, so I get this all the time.
If you're a Buddhist, prove it. Set yourself on fire. Fucking do it.
Just talking to your Jewish friends, like, no, you've got this really wrong.
Honestly, you jump to conclusions. You should go away and meditate like I do. All right, look, I think it's time to get to a pilot ad read. What do you reckon? Hammer?
I'm excited.
I'm excited for the pilot ad read. I feel like, we've gone down a dark path there.
And
And,
I thought
that was pretty fun.
amiable.
I mean, I think the Devil's Grace as a name for lube is fucking red hot.
I don't believe that doesn't exist. So I got to look.
You're going to have Devil's Grace? All right. So yeah, as any of the regular floggers will know, this podcast is brought to you by Pilot Men's Health, and every week we write an ad for our guests. I sent it to you on WhatsApp, brother.
Yep.
I've written an ad for Amos this week, and look, I want to apologize. Want to get out in front of it. I don't think it's my best work because I know Amos too well, and I know that he could actually use Pilot. So it was hard to just make fun of him. You're not allowed to read ahead.
I thought you would tell me to read it.
Yeah,
Do I read it now?
so yeah, this is a pilot ad read. Amos Gill, take it away.
Wait, so hold on. Do you guys actually get money from this?
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, not much, but a little bit.
Do I look? Hey there, floggers. It's radio personality and children's TV presenter Amos Gill. Now, you might know me for going long. In my 5-minute raw comedy set, I did 14. It's true. They didn't give me the footage as punishment. I said, can I have that for clips? And they said no. Bastards. In my JFL debut, I did so long they cut me from the broadcast completely. Also true. You can see that one on YouTube, though. I speak about my mum getting fucked. But that's all on stage. Off stage, oh boy, I'm going short, folks. I'm basically Peter Dinklage in the sheets. I thought that dwarves had relatively good-sized cocks.
I just meant short. He's short, not like as in.
Oh, you're not saying I've got a little dick.
No, he's
You're
saying I fucked for very long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I thought you were just sort of wantonly punishing Peter Dinklage's penis size.
I would
because we
never.
know I'm penally challenged, but this isn't about dick growth.
No, it's about fuck length.
Sorry. I've tried everything to last longer, even Stoic philosophy, but it turns out thinking of Marcus Aurelius just makes me come even quicker. But thank God I have found Pilot. With them, I've been able to stay hard in bed and on stage. These days, JFL stands for just fuck long.
That's good stuff.
Now my sex tapes won't be aired either, because I'm going long, baby! Pilot. Hard made easy.
Thank you for that punch up at
Thank
the
you.
end there. Appreciate it.
Here we go.
Gave it a little extra.
No, I'll just make sure you got it right. Pilot. Because I used to have to do live reads on radio all the time.
Yeah.
Pilot. It's hard, made easy.
How long did they go for?
Oh, I can give you a second quick one. I'm Amos Gill. I'm a rude comedian who goes long on stage, but in my private sex life, I come way too quickly. Pilot. That's your second take.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Good. Thanks for giving us some
15
options.
We're here with a
Second
professional. Just fuck long?
Just fuck
Just
long.
one long. In radio, when you do the long read, they like it.
Ah, well, I mean, look, I'm sure these guys liked it. $20 off your first order with promo code FLOGGERS20.
That's it.
Pilot.com.au.
I'm not that much of a premature ejaculator anymore, actually.
I thought you struggled to get it up more, to be
I
honest.
do have some issues with the...
So you did 14 minutes and a 5 in the Raw National Final. I
did.
That's funny stuff.
Well, I got to the Raw National Final and I was like, I know I'm not winning it. You know, it was very clear that it was going to be this sketch group. And so I was just like, just enjoy the big room, I reckon. So I just went out there and stretched the legs.
I thought my direct quote from you was, well, they're not going to light you in the town hall.
Well, yeah, exactly. You don't get gonged.
Was there any kind of signal that you could see that they were trying to get you to fuck off?
On the side. And I was
Just waiting for the shepherd's
At
hook.
one point, I believe you can see. I'm kind of like, I look and I'm just like, I'm loving this.
They're waving at me.
I don't understand why you would kick someone off at a new act competition who's doing well. There's a lot of crap back there. I've seen who's on next. These are some battlers. These people have paid good hard money.
That's great.
And then I came runner-up with Cam James, and then Wolfie, Andrew Wolf, lost and threw a beer against the wall and smashed and didn't come to the after party. And then my dad basically inflamed him further because my dad went over to Wolfie and goes, that was outrageous, that result. And I was thinking my dad was going to say that I should have won. and Dad goes, my son was all right. The winners were fucking ordinary, but you were sensational. You've been robbed. And Wolfie was like, I know, man. And then he kind of like left the business
For a bit.
for quite a while until he became bankrupt, and then he's back.
He's back in.
Really?
Strong Andrew Wolf. We're going to get him in Perth. We're all too hungover.
What did you do at your Raw? You did Raw, right? Or did you just go? No, you just
I-
went straight into fucking winning an award.
I did the state final twice and couldn't get past the state final.
You did stay final twice?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think about doing comedy like 1 year. When
Yeah,
you
but
did
by the time you got in, this is not what Raw was looking for by that point.
Totally. No.
You know?
But I also didn't think that they wanted a guy on TV joking about how he went to prison for drugs.
I think they want that.
Yeah.
But of course, this whole business is about wrongins talking about how they were wrong. And then somehow it's morphed into, I'm a good person, let me tell you why you're a bad person. The whole point of stand-up comedy, I mean, there's lots of different comedy, of course, but one of the great comedy people ever is Richard Pryor, and he's talking about some horrible shit he went through and he did. And then you talk about that. And then for some reason, Australia got into this period of stand-up where it was just like, he was a bigot, he said something, and then I put him in his place. Like, do you ever watch Aussie? This is the biggest Aussie comedy tropes. Number one, I hate this. This gets me the most. A really unfunny comedian will say something their bigoted family member said, and the bigoted remark gets the laugh, and you're like, is there a chance your nan could be at this gig? Because I might not agree with her, but she's got chops. And then the comment you said afterwards sucked.
Yeah.
Your nan's got a fucking way with words. And then the other Aussie comedy trope I hate is, how Aussie is that? You know, with the whole punchline is
yeah.
like. Then this guy said I've done it, but it's like this guy said the Aussiest thing ever. So.
Yeah. Just like, only in Australia. It's like, no, I reckon statistically, probably in China, there's fucking heaps of them.
Kills me, man.
There's no way it didn't happen. But
Yeah, but everyone's you're like the person. Everyone's like, you seen this bloke yet?
Hopefully. I mean, it's gone all right. People coming to the shows and I'm having fun doing it.
I think Amos is trying to give you a compliment inside the comedy community. People are like, Hamo's good.
Hamo's good, yeah.
Hamo's
good.
And he doesn't give compliments.
That hurt me.
He doesn't give compliments
brother.
out easily, and he's expecting two back.
That's the one. This is
He's
actually.
he's a money lender when it comes to compliments. There is interest charge on them. He'll give you one, but there's a fucking return on it.
I've spoken about talking to Hitler in the Shadow Realm, and yet, me complimenting another man is the bit I want chopped from this.
Cut that. Nah. Talk to my people. You're out.
Just gonna get that out. Right?
You're absolutely out.
I've got final cut on this stuff.
Yeah, I did the state final of Raw twice, but I'd only been doing comedy for about 6 weeks when I did it the first time. So it was funny. Like I wouldn't have been able to go to Melbourne anyway because I wasn't allowed out of the state.
But were you doing comedy? I was told that you like wrote jokes in prison.
That's true.
But like you were doing comedy before prison, or
No. I just in prison.
So you hadn't started. So you literally, I'm writing a joke. I'm going to do comedy when I get out of here.
That's right.
Oh, that is a good story. Okay, so someone told me that he was a comedian before, then he went in.
No, I had a vision. God spoke to me in jail,
Yeah.
or something. I don't know what was God. Something in my head was like, you know what? When you get out, you're going to do stand up, and it's going to go great. And
But I have this immense lack of discipline to like work. Like I rely on mental illness and like a stress before a festival to write. So the idea of like putting together a show, I'd love a little stint in prison for the discipline of like a pen and a paper. Because people seem to churn out art in there. You get reading books.
You get into a routine. Yeah,
As a person who demands, like, who loves Stoic philosophy, as you made fun of there, and like mastering myself, I have all these.
Marcus Aurelius, I'm the Caesar. Yeah, that's Amos. That's Amos jacking it.
I would love nothing more than like just a month, a year, where my family like just
Only
like,
you could
locked up.
idealize prison. It is like, that's where I'd finally get some work done.
Yeah, because I can't have any distractions. I need my phone.
You don't think
and
there's
everything
distractions in prison?
Well, there's that guy I bashed on day one. I've got to look over my I'll be writing a lot like, I shouldn't have done that. But I think I would get a lot done. I don't know. But I'd have to be in isolation.
You do well.
I would be disliked. I am a flog. I know that.
Well, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
You're a very easy booking
You're
for
in
us.
good company, brother.
On the Uber over, I thought the premise of this was you come over and talk about times you've been a flog, and I did think of one.
Yeah, go.
And
I mean, you can give this podcast a premise if you want. It's up to you.
I thought, because I thought the point was you pick flogs to come into the cabin. I guess So I was telling a friend about this the other day.
On the phone.
When I played,
it wasn't me.
We were 4 hours in. I was running out of stories. It was
started running old on the phone.
I was like, so what else is going on? Yeah, so your mum's got cancer. Anyway, I was a flog this time. Right? Send him my best.
Actually, give me her number. She's probably in bed. She'd like a call.
She could do with some cheering up. She's going to love this one.
Yeah.
This was about, so when I played sports, I was the worst version of myself. I don't know, like, did you play rugby or?
Rugby union,
Aussie rules.
He was quite a good athlete. Can we say that thing your teacher said to you?
About what?
About your thighs?
Oh, this is the best.
This is unrelated to the story, but like...
This is great. I had an 8, okay, so I was a fast runner. I did the 100 and a 10.9. Look it up.
That's fast.
That's fast.
For a white guy.
Yeah.
And I quote my dad because I said, Dad, I want to like dedicate the next 5 years to being a runner. And he goes, look at the men's 100-meter final. Anyone look like you?
Is he wrong though?
He's like, it's a waste of your time.
Is that
My dad stopped me doing 2 Institute of Sport things. One, I wanted to be a sprinter, and it's like I was never. Yeah, that was correct.
Yeah.
But then I got signed up for the South Australian Institute of Sport cycling team for the sprint cycling.
In the velodrome.
The velodrome?
I just like saying velodrome.
We went to the velodrome, like me and 10 kids, because my school has a testing thing where they get you to do the beep test, the jump test, you have all these things. And then
Some measurements.
you get,
do like
if
an
you have a
NFL
certain
draft.
measurements, they go, you've qualified to be in the National Identification Program for London Olympics, whatever. And I went there and they were like, you guys can be Olympians. If you dedicate yourself to this, you could make it to that Olympic Games. And we're in the car home and I was like, yeah, I think I want to do this. But it's like 4 nights a week training. And Dad goes, yeah. It's fucking gay though, isn't it, cycling? back at that, and I was like, "You're stopping me from becoming an Olympian," and now I'm like, "Great, cool again from Dad." Great, cool. Hated him at the time, but the idea of just shaving myself down and riding a bike in a circle.
Imagine being a father and being like, I don't want to drive him there 4 days a week. How can I make this teenage boy not want to do something? Maybe suggested it'd make him gay.
Well, he would always say, Dad would always say to me, he goes, this. He goes, when you get home tonight, have a look at all the cyclists on the wall you've got of posters. Oh, you don't, do you? What cyclists are your fucking heroes? None. You don't look up to. You're a football player.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you this football story.
But wait, you didn't say the thigh thing.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. So in that talent ID program was an old teacher who was about 75, a legend of a bloke. And he was teaching PE and then biology in year 12.
Stunning.
And he goes, I want to talk a little bit about fast twitch fibers and body types. There's meso, ecto, and endomorphs. Now, Amos is a mesomorph. He's a good runner at our school. Amos, come up here. He goes, now, what makes Amos quick is his thigh muscles here. He's got very powerful glutes. He's got the glutes of a Negro.
Oh my God. He's got the glutes of a Negro.
And he goes, now
Like,
you're looking
while Amos is up there like a fucking cadaver.
I'm literally just standing there like this, and he's making me go like, so I'm rubbing my leg, and he's going, you'll notice on the Negro sprinters a very strong muscle belly through the quadricep and the hamstrings and the glutes.
At least he was letting you touch your own thighs, you know? He's not getting in there just having a grab.
The way I'm picturing it in my head, there was a lot of touching from him.
Yeah, so he's totally like a Nazi scientist.
It's just that thing where it's like, you know, Australia's a racist country. You're like, oh, not really. We kind of got everyone from everywhere. We tend to get along. And then you hear that, and you're like, yeah, fair enough. Just drop a Negro
terms.
like it's scientific to describe your thighs.
Yes.
It's so mental. In a classroom. Like when people are there to learn about actual things.
I'm just like this. Oh, yeah.
When was that? Like 2005?
2007.
2007.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So I played football, and I was like a good runner, but I'm like a pretty ordinary football player skill wise.
What position did you play?
I played like in the midfield, right? I was just fast.
On the wing, just up and down?
No, like right in the middle. But my kick was just like not good enough. But I was got to the SANFL reserves level, but then that wasn't for me. So I went to Amos, like a good level of amateurs. Oh, yeah. And this is the floggiest thing I ever did. I started
that
playing.
Was fucking close.
I thought he said something else. Yep.
He said Amos, and we were just like, whoop.
You don't call Amos?
No.
Amateur footy?
Amateur footy's great. Yeah. We like that as a soundbite. We've run it through our people. Right. They like it.
So I'm playing.
Aaron has heard Amos and clenched. Like, what's he talking about here?
The bloody Amos.
So I was decided it would be funny because it was like quite low level, but I was still half decent at this time to play. I played full forward, and I would wear a glove. So do you know some footballers would wear like a market glove for grabbing the ball? Yeah. Okay, so it's quite a douchey thing to do to have the glove. And I, as a joke, I was like, I'm going to play this game with the glove on. I kicked 10 goals in this game, right? And every time I would sprint out, I would take the mark, I'd take off the glove, and then when I would run back, I'd slap my opponent in the face with the glove, right? And then he would punch me, and I would get a free kick. And I would kick another goal, and then I would get the glove and go, high five, right? And I'd go to high five with the glove. Now, I kicked 10 that game because they just kept giving me free kicks, and I just kept slapping people on the ass with the glove.
I mean, I would have been hitting you a lot harder. If you were slapping me in the face with a glove, I'd make sure that punch hit you hard enough that you're not kicking any more goals that day.
It was so bad, but it was just my friends enjoyed it so much. And like to play well, I would just, my talk was this is before the word flog had been invented. This is what I used to do to get free kicks.
This is pre-flog?
So imagine that I'm playing on Hamo and you're my teammate. I'd go like this. Can you believe they got this guy on me? Like he's paid his fees to come out and have a good bloody bit of fun with footy, and he's going to chase me around all day. And he's not fast enough. He just doesn't have the tank. It's brutal. Like honestly, I don't know why the coach is doing this. Does the coach hate him? Because I'm unbelievable. Like he's just looking at me run around all day. Like seriously, dude. Like. Do you want to play on him instead? Because he's way worse. And then they would punch you or do something bad to you. And then I'd look at them and go, why would you give me a free kick? I'm already getting the ball enough. And you're giving... Is it because you want to see me front on so you can like analyze how I kick or something? Like, what's this? Mate, not a good guy.
So you're going heavy on the bants.
Heavy.
I just like that you're throwing your teammate under the bus as well. He's not excluded from the sledging. Just like, this guy's way worse than me. Like, what the fuck, dude? We're on the same team. 100%. Piece of shit.
But I remember I went to the league medal where they give out the best and fairest that year.
Yeah.
And we got into the final round, and I was on a certain amount of votes, and this other guy called Curtis Cox was on a certain amount of votes. We were tied, like 30 votes or whatever. And his game came up. He got one vote for Curtis Cox. 1 out of 3 votes is the highest you can get, right?
Yes.
And then it was my game, and I was like, I've kicked 10. I've had an unbelievable game. 0 votes. And then the umpire who umpires all the games was there. And I was like, what the fuck? And he goes, it's best and fairest. You were slapping people in the face with a glove. He like was one of the most unsportsmanlike performances of sport.
Heavy on the best, low on the fairest. Yeah. Fucking hell.
And
Easy on the fairest.
There are still people from like the under-19s Kenilworth football club team who still see me and are just like, dude, it was really hard to like stand by you that day with the glove. Like it's one of the worst displays of humanity.
I was like, I'm gonna test the limits of teammate.
But it wasn't even a sporting glove. It was a welder's glove.
A welder's glove.
It's a giant welder's glove. I didn't know where to get one of those sport gloves.
Jesus
The glove was called the Black Knight.
The Black Knight. Jeez.
Taking it up, being like, I challenge you to a duel.
You just reminded me, there's a gay rugby team that I've played against back in Sydney.
Yeah.
What are they called? It'll come to me in a second. But when I used to play for Mossman, I remember we were playing them, and in the morning we're there at the sheds, and one of the players from the gay team came over and was like, hey boys, like I accidentally like only packed one of my footy boots. Has anyone got any spare boots? And then one of the guys in our team goes, what kind of pickup line is that? Good stuff.
Good gear.
They're just all gay blokes, you know.
You're about to say notorious for being gay. It's like you can just be gay, man.
Well, I mean, like,
Everyone's talking
are they
about it.
all
There's
gay?
wanted posters.
Are they all gay?
I assume
Or are
probably
they
most
like-
of them are gay, but maybe some of them aren't.
It's like
There's a couple of
here we
straight
go,
chicks
Sydney
on there, you know,
Sydney
just hanging out.
convicts. There we go to Sydney convicts,
Right.
And
Sydney convicts.
Well, they all got convicted in the 70s for what they were doing.
Yeah, that's good gear.
It's like it's gay blokes and their friends and family that are like, you know, allies.
Do they play in like rainbow gear?
No,
Because
No,
we're with
I
our
don't think
football
so.
team, like we played in like a fairly like inner west Sydney kind of league with, you know, some people who wouldn't like the homosexual community too much.
Yeah.
And our team motto was all gay for each other because they just would get so upset. We wore rainbow socks one year.
If I was playing against that team, you could every football coach I would have ever had, if it was known as the gay team, your speech would have to be like, we're not fucking allies in this room, are we, boys? There's no allies here today.
As soon as we cross that line,
Hey, off here. We vote yes.
we like them.
But when we cross that line, we vote no.
it's funny because like the guys, like they're like proper like solid footy players, big guys that like you would think that a lot of them are straight. But then I like tackled one guy head high on the I was in the Sting. And there was like a twink standing on the sideline who like obviously doesn't play footy. He just to remind you, this is the gay team. Like, oh my god, get him off! Get him off! Unacceptable!
That's sick.
That is.
Oh, well, I need more gay fans.
But
Love a
like,
bit of
to
that.
me, sports, like I had years of being a good bloke in sports, and I was terrible because of it. There is nothing worse for me to perform a game of football and be like, look at me, perform a game of football. Like the athlete in me has been destroyed. I went out there and great performance today, boys.
He's just like doing throat exercises for his banter.
But I used to shake people. I used to be like, have a good game, mate. And then I would always talk to my opponent.
Yeah.
Like, how you guys going this season?
I was always nice, yeah.
I was always there as well, but I was terrible. I had to be a cunt to get any level of performance out. But it's like, then you don't like who you be. That white line fever is true. Like the best game of football I ever played was these dudes ripped my hair out this time. Like I used to have long hair and this guy yanked my hair and pulled like a clump of my hair. And I remember like the pain was so immense that I just chased every one of them down for like tackled them and you'd smash their head in the ground. And my coach was like, where the fuck's that bloke been? that bloke, that
mongrel.
bloke, that mongrel in you. Bring that back. And then, within 6 weeks, I've got a glove and I'm slapping dudes in the face.
Where's that bloke gone?
Put that bloke away. We don't like it. Game out there.
Please don't refer to me as Amos Gill. I'm the Black Knight.
The Black Knight.
My preferred pronouns are Black Knight.
Yeah, I wanted people on the sidelines like waving gloves. Like, Give him the glove! Glove him, Gilly!
When you're lining up for goal, everyone's swinging gloves around their head. Like, "Whoa." Huge welding faction. I like it.
So you got to act like an absolute cockhead to get the best performance out of yourself.
Absolutely. You don't have that?
That's a tough battle.
I remember in school sport, like people used to like take it real serious. And you're like, oh man.
Oh, mate, I was the worst for that. Because, Mike, back to the school thing. I don't know if you round this out. I fucking loved school.
Why do you keep trying to impose structure on this podcast?
I don't know, this is what
Like, I thought you might want to talk about flogs, maybe.
here's a
Maybe
parting
we
thought.
could sum this up, round it up. Yeah, you know, good stuff.
I loved like school, and this is why this goes back to the prison thing. I was absolutely institutionalized with school. I fucking.
But you're a company man.
But
You're a
people-
company
yeah,
man from way back.
People leave school and they would be like, "Oh, thank God I got the fuck out of school." It took me a decade to put my life back together because I loved the community. I did everything for my school: debating, cross country, swimming, football, cricket, tennis. I'd fill in for fucking anything that the school wanted. My blazer, I look like Gaddafi. You know when you get the badges.
Oh,
before you
yeah,
compete.
just
I just had
flinging
like,
up.
I had like
You have the lines as well with
I had
all your
the
little
lines, my
achievements.
blazer. It's like I love this place. I am a company man. I love to be like this.
Yeah.
I'm part of this college. I was so
You would
into
have
it.
been so awesome when like just cigarette companies were like going for it and they're getting the data back about the deaths and you're like, don't worry about it. Another great day.
But it is, yeah.
How many camels do we need to shut these cunts up? I want to make some money for the boys.
So those schools are really there to make you a soldier. Historically, they are to put you into like
To make you malleable.
to make you malleable and loyal, and but then we don't have anything to fight for anymore. And so like I think I would have enjoyed the older years of like the all boys school because I did co-ed and then I was terrible at school. It was an absolute fuck up. And then I went to an all boys school and bizarrely the all boys school fixed my life because there was no like at co-ed school, you'd be in like a maths class and everyone's joking around. You're trying to make the girls laugh. Everyone's horny. The coolest thing at a co-ed school is who gives a shit. The guys that were like, this sucks, got all the pussy, and people that were trying to work were losers. I found it at an all boys school. I'd try to like make jokes with the teacher or something or fuck around. And dude's like, shut up, I'm trying to become a fucking investment banker. Like you're ruining this.
So I can get pussy later.
They understood
I put
it
a
comes,
down payment on pussy.
it comes like further down. So I loved the private school, the private fucking boys school thing because I only got 1 year of it. And now I see, did you see that, they get all these comedians here at the festival making fun of all boys schools because that's Sydney. What's that Sydney school? That's
Newington.
What's
Newington's going co-ed.
Yeah, what's the go on that?
They just want more money. They want more students.
Some of the interviews though were very funny. That guy that was on the verge of tears, like
There was a guy like actually crying, and
Yeah.
I'm like, he went to an all-girls school.
But I saw that interview, and and everyone was like, all the comics were mocking him. And I was like borderline tearing up, like, here's a photo. They're trying to tear men down. It's not toxic. You should be around the boys.
Well, the thing is, like,
They're good places.
dude, all the statistics are like all girls' schools are better for girls. Like all boys' schools, like boys do better when girls are around. Like girls do worse when boys are around.
Interesting.
So it's like, yeah, we're being really progressive. Just another leg up for the boys. Wink, wink. You know.
is that true?
Is it? I see. For
That's
me,
all
it
the
was
studies.
Every time there was a girl in the class, I would do whatever the fuck I could do to impress her.
Yeah, I think I would have done worse if I had girls around when I was in high school.
Yeah. What were you doing? Were you in all boys school?
I went to an all boys school, yeah.
The weird thing about all boys school guys.
But I just didn't, like, I'm the opposite of you. You know this. Like, I don't buy in. I'm the opposite of a company man. I think the company's stupid. Anyone who thinks the company's smart is stupid too.
But you say that, but you are a company.
Yeah, fucking one-man
Yeah,
company.
one man company. I'm a company.
This company's
man,
great. That company out there is shit.
like I'm a guy who has. I'm a company man without a company. That's why I'm so lost in life. I'm looking for a boss. I think
Yeah,
that's why I've gone back to church. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're just like, maybe the Pope could be my boss. Pope seems pretty chill. He lets you use condoms now, which obviously you don't, but, you know, that's fine.
I don't use condoms.
Do you use condoms? I think I think you're one of those guys who does it.
I had this enormous fight with my girlfriend. We'd been together a year, and she was like, kept saying we have to use condoms in our relationship. And I was like, this is the only benefit of monogamy, is to not have condoms. Like
You really want to go on the air saying that's the only benefit of monogamy,
yeah,
that you don't have to put a condom on?
I made a
There's
mistake.
no other benefits?
I made a mistake.
Like maybe, like, emotional
Listen to
companionship,
this
like sharing
guy.
your life together,
All
like
right.
you and her together can
All
build
right.
a company.
This is
Like
why-
it'd have a female CEO, which is lame, but other
I
than that,
fucked up.
this is.
But I said yes. Come on, I'm denying myself the world. And
Again,
she's
this is
already
just really every explanation couldn't get worse.
That's what
You don't understand. By spending time with you, I'm denying myself everything. You're an impediment to my enjoyment of life. I love you. Let me put my cock in raw.
But come on.
Come on, folks. Come on, folks. This is clean dick. Come on.
Everything I believe is wrong, and all I have to argue my beliefs is, come on. When it boils down to come on, you know you've lost, but you're like,
Put your fucking mic up. Your mic technique sucks.
oh God, see, he's a boss.
Then I'm just watching you do this. Come on. I'm like, no one can hear you.
Do they need to? Is it a pivotal point?
Yes. Amos, everything you say is important, which is the nicest thing anyone can ever say to you.
Well, my mum said that to me, and it created a monster.
What was that thing?
I'm surprised you didn't get bashed for slapping people with a glove.
I did, but I was quick. There was an umpire.
I'm talking
present.
like in the car park after the game.
It was still a private school kind of league.
We all got on our separate buses.
You know, it's hard for a lot of these kids to want to fight you when they're jumping into the back of an X5.
Yeah, that's fair.
The bus driver, like, thanks for letting me borrow your driving gloves, sir.
Yeah, but I wasn't bad. I wasn't bad in the real world. You know, I'm not the worst. You know. I've only been knocked out once. It was by a bouncer at a nightclub.
That was here, wasn't it?
It was here.
I remember that story. When you're still on radio.
I was on radio and I went to.
Can you imagine? This is Amos's personality now, 32 years in, after like a decade of like, you know, not a huge amount of upward trajectory. Imagine this. Imagine this at 23. He's like done comedy for like a year. He's on TV presenting a children's show, traveling around the world. He's done comedy for 3 years. He's got like the youngest ever radio breakfast host in Australia. Like imagine this personality. And then it trying to get into a bar in its
total flog.
hometown.
No, here's what happened. This one, and I still think I was not in the wrong.
Okay. All right. Pitch it to me.
I'm dating this girl, and she's on the gear for sure, having a big night. And I was like, she's in this bar. There's a massive line to get in, and she's messaging me like, "I need help. I'm fucked up. I need to get out of here. Can you please come and get me?" And I was like, "Just come downstairs. I don't even know. Like, I just need help." So I was like, "Fuck, I've got to go in there." So I go to the front of the line, and I said to the bouncer, "Okay, mate, here's the deal. My missus is up there. I think she's in some trouble. She might be a bit fucked up." I started going, "Get her and I'll come straight down." And he goes, "You be fucking straight up there and straight down. Do you understand me?" I go, "Dude, this is politely, not my joint, not my scene." You know, couldn't think of a worse. I'm a pub guy, not a nightclub guy. I walk up there. She's completely fine. She just wanted me in the bar with her friends. And she's like, "This is my song." And I'm like, "We've got to go." She's like, "I don't want to leave." I said, "We've got to leave." So she's like, "Just stay for one." So I start dancing with her to one. A bouncer comes and hits me in the back of the head and goes, "You said you'd be straight down, mate." He threw me down the stairs. At this point, I was like, man, I was lucky that I didn't severely break things.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm in the right, I believe.
Yes, correct.
I'm in the right.
Well, I mean, you should have gone downstairs, but
I'm trying to get this fucking annoying girl down there.
Yeah, it's hard.
And so people around were like, whoa, whoa, whoa. When I came to, it's fair to say I went very quickly from the victim to the flog. Because I'm just in this bouncer's face like, "I'm on the radio, mate. Do you know what I'm going to fucking say about you? You're a fucking nothing. This club's going to go down. I'm going to fucking bring a lawsuit against you. I will be on the radio every day saying that this nightclub is a fucking piece of shit and you're going to get fired, you fucking loser." And I looked around and there's just a whole line of people who are watching me say, "I'm on the radio." And I had to look at them and I'm just starting to yell, "He punched me up there."
And then
You didn't say it.
And then you've got the glove off.
I dare you, each and every one of you. If you catch me, I can run in 10.9.
In my head, this story also involves like a billboard with Amos's head on it being visible, and he's pointing like, "Do you see? That's me."
Well, my head
Who
already
are you?
My head already is billboard size. That was the worst part about having billboards around town. I'd just be seeing trains go by, and I'd be like, "Oof."
I mean, to be fair,
Yuck.
probably in your life that was one of the few times you didn't deserve to get punched in the head. Right?
Yeah.
Like that was
the way-
excessive
But,
force.
after the rant, you know, probably the down the stairs as well. The punch in the back of the head is still unacceptable. I don't think that's ever
I
acceptable.
still get the douche chills about that one.
The douche chills.
I get douche chills.
Mate,
massively.
I must have told you that I reckon this is easily the douchiest thing I've ever said.
Right.
It was during the Christmas when everyone in Sydney got COVID, but you could still kind of have Christmas. Wait, no, the one before that, sorry. Everyone just kind of got tested so you could do it with your family. When I was still doing Zoom comedy. Remember Zoom comedy? I did loads of it.
I opted against it the whole time.
Yep.
It's one of my proudest accomplishments.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I was too busy being a barrister getting water for a lawyer.
I literally probably did like 30,000 people on Zoom comedy, and you're like, maybe I should work for ASIO. Who took the high road, cunt? So, but like, yeah, so we're doing Zoom comedy. I had to get back for the show. We're in the COVID testing line. The COVID testing line is fucking massive in Sydney. It's like one of the car ones. And we're just like, I'm like, shit, I'm going to be late for the show. And then we get to the lady and like who was, taking your name and whatever. And I was like, I'm just wondering like how long between now and the thing, because I've just got to get home for work. And she's like, oh, it should probably take like 30 to 45 minutes. It's like, well, is it 30 or 45 minutes? Because like if it's 30, I can still make my Zoom show. But like if it's 45, I probably can't make it. And then she's just like, 1,000 cars in a fucking line. That's happening all day. And be like, maybe your show could just start a little late. Maybe you could be a bit late to your show.
I'm still employed, everyone, by the way.
And I say to this person in full COVID gear trying to prevent a pandemic, I'm like, you don't understand. I am the show.
Oh my!
Mary still brings it up frequently. I am the show.
Why are you not calling your show I Am the Show?
I am the show.
Dan Muggleton. That's
the
the
show.
special. Dan Muggleton, I Am the Show.
Oh, it's so late. I'm actually getting like my skin crawls a little bit.
How
just
long
saying
between you saying that and then you reflecting on that and being like, that was
7 or 8 seconds. I'm great. Like I'm great for self-reflection immediately. Like I remember last year I yelled at a comedian who's a mutual friend, George Zach, for going long, and then he messaged me being like, man, I get that we went long, but it was literally 3 minutes long, and he yelled in my face, and my response was, absolutely spot on there, mate. My bad. Yeah. Immediately. It's like I'm willing to be like, yeah.
I remember seeing Dan once in Edinburgh, and I came the final week just for a hang, and he's been there the whole time. And this guy crunches himself with all the shows he's producing, and he's wearing the fucking tracksuit in the heat. And I see him and I'm like, it's one of my best mates in comedy. I look forward to seeing Dan. And I got my phone out to do like an Instagram thing like, Dan, what's going on? He just turns and looks at me. He's just in the singlet at that point with the tracksuit bottoms on. And he goes, don't film me. What do you want? I'm like, hey, man, how's it going?
Sick.
Just like, turn the fucking camera off.
Turn it off.
Yeah. Well,
Turn it off. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
This is funny.
Fucking hell. And I just was like, I'm just here for a good time at the festival. I kept saying I felt like one of those soldiers that goes to relieve people in the trenches. And I was all fresh-faced.
And he's just seen some shit.
And he's just sitting there.
He's got shell shock. Like
He's lost some friends to mustard gas and fucking.
I just can't hand that on the
sepsis.
fly, bro. They don't respect you. They don't respect you.
Dan doesn't like this. This is the thing about comedy. He really, it's mad. It's mad. Like, I love this. And then Dan, every time I see him, he's like, what are we doing? Why am I doing this? It's just a stupid thing. It makes no sense.
Yes.
It's just broadly across. It's just unprofessional. It's dumb. And I'm like, how many shows you got on tonight? You're like, 5.
I'm trying to get a 6th.
Trying to get a 6th.
Trying to add one.
Adding podcasts in the day, working. It's like,
Yeah, that was just so funny. It's just like, I fucking hate doing this. Like, I'm on the phone to my management being like, why do I have a night off? I shouldn't. I'm here to work. Fuck.
yeah, man, this guy crunches himself, huh?
Yeah.
Hard worker. I don't get it.
No. I do have nothing to show for it. Not at all. Financially, professionally,
Are these
nothing.
yours?
Yeah, we bought these.
You got some equipment?
Yeah, we got some equipment.
I don't even have the equipment.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, this is my hotel room. I guess that's something. I was like, who's got the biggest hotel room? Maybe
Nice
me.
room.
Could be me.
See, I can't believe that you live well.
What do you mean?
And this is like, this is living well. Take a look at this, folks. This is a low-scale, 3.5-star hotel.
I just did the washing yesterday. I had to line every surface with socks and undies because
There we
there's no
go.
clothes source.
And this is as good as it gets. Whereas most comedians will maximize profit by staying in the worst place humanly possible. But Dan, you respect yourself, which
I'm staying at the Ibis, which is just there.
You can see it.
Yep. It's
that's not bad either.
that's fine.
Ibis
It's
is fine.
just-
So I
it's
always
Tommy
go,
rooms.
what I've learned is women are expensive because I thought that I don't respect them. But it turns out I respect them more than me.
Way more.
Because when I travel by myself, I will stay at the biggest dive, a cockroach-ridden hellscape, just because it's cheap. And I go, it's just me. I'm laying in a bed by myself. Who gives a fuck?
Yep.
The moment I'm like, my girlfriend's coming on the road with me for the week, I'm taking the L. I am staying somewhere minimum $250.
Yeah.
Like for your girlfriend, the level that you're prepared to put her in versus the level you're prepared to put yourself in is so vast.
Dude, they
will bankrupt you on the road.
The only people who know how comedians treat themselves on the road are the hotel staff who clean your room. And it's like come in that day where there's like a pizza still on the bed in the box. There's like underwear on the TV drying. And they just see like your laptop like in the bathroom and you're like, what the fuck happened here? Because I got a kitchen in the bath. I got a kettle in the bathroom right now. And Hammer came in like, what's in the kettle in the bathroom? I'm like, I had a hot chocolate last night. I treated myself with a hot chocolate. Yeah.
The thing is like, when you have a girlfriend, it's not that you have to pay for an extra person. It's that you've got to pay for two people. Because when my girlfriend's not there, I don't treat myself as a person.
No.
And so it's not only am I buying me and her a meal, I'm actually buying me a meal as opposed to getting a Cliff Bar and a packet of Smith's crisps every single fucking day.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't respect myself as an employee like this, and I don't respect myself. I don't love myself either. Fuck, don't give me DMT.
I was going to say, fucking hell, I think we're close to a breakthrough here.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to learn to love me before I can love anyone else.
Oh my God. I think we just verged. We call this part of the Flog cabin Soft Cock Corner.
That's true. Yeah, it's actually got a name. Welcome to Soft Cock Corner, baby. Let's get that cock hard again and get some Devil's Grace and really get deep.
I like the harsher stuff. God, I slapped myself with the glove right now.
I'm challenging myself today.
I've gone from the slapper to the slapped.
The slapper to the slappy. Oh, man.
Get a hold of yourself, Amos. I got to start carrying that glove around. Every time I'm weak. Remember who you used to be.
You used to be somebody. You used to bully people for no reason and kick goals off the back of it. You were something, kid. You were something.
You bagged 10.
Oh, God. I've become such a pathetic person.
You haven't become a pathetic person. You're doing great.
I'm all right.
You're a nice guy. I like it.
I've just been fighting with my girlfriend, that's all.
Yeah. That happens.
I don't. We shouldn't get into that. Every time I post a podcast, my girlfriend listens to all of it forensically to see if there's anything that I've done.
Just checking. Okay, so cut at 120.
You can leave it in there. Just know that I'm listening too, Annika. I know what you're up to.
It's always good to have an out on a podcast.
She's taking notes. She's taking notes.
Hammer, you got anything? Like I reckon if we do 5 more minutes, we're good. I mean, we've probably got enough as it is, but I just feel like that really petered out.
I petered it out purposely.
Yeah.
So you can
I thought I was on a conspiracy theory the other day, which turns out...
This is an Adelaide conspiracy.
I
so
thought it was an Adelaide conspiracy theory, but
go.
it turns out it was just... It was nothing.
What do you mean?
I went to a pub. I don't know if you know this, but I like going to pubs. Yeah. And I have... it was just... Who cares? It was just one on the street.
Well, I care. It's my city and I have an affinity for them.
But I ordered a pint and I was like, this pint looks a bit small. And I was like...
Oh, seriously? You didn't know?
I didn't know. So in my head, I'm like, okay, all right, maybe it's the glass. Maybe it's... Because it was a long glass. And so I'm like, okay. So then I went to another pub. I went to the Coopers.
Yeah, Cooper's Ale House.
And again, I got a pint, and this time I'm like, okay, I know. I've wrapped my head around a few pints. I know millage.
Did you say millage?
I know millage.
Like mileage?
This is mils. How many mils?
Right.
I'm like, I know a bit about millage, and I'm like, okay.
Shrinkflation, folks.
I'm like, Adelaide have a conspiracy here. They're selling fucking pints that aren't real pints. And then it turns out I looked it up because I was in the middle of talking about things for the pod, and I was like, I think I'm on one here. I think I've got
to message me. He's like, I got an Adelaide conspiracy. And then 15 minutes later, wait, never mind.
Wait, is it just that we just Googled Imperial pint?
It turns out that a pint here is just a schooner.
Correct. And there's an Imperial pint.
An Imperial pint. What do they call that? An impy?
Just an imperial pint.
Just imperial pint.
Okay.
It's because
There's
of
no-
our free settled background.
Yeah. They say the whole thing.
We said the whole thing, baby.
These guys aren't convicts, mate, which is why they.
Right. So
That's
yeah.
why they kill now.
So if I go to a pub,
We learn our lesson.
if I go to a pub and I ask for an impy, they're not going to know what I'm talking about.
I think they'll get the vague idea. If you're talking beer, you can't just walk in and be like, I want an impy.
Yeah. Okay. They'll bring out a small man.
How do you... how do you... how do
Peter
you...
Dinklage.
No, that's a dinky.
Thinking an impy. Do you find Adelaide, as you know, you've been going out. What do you think of our city?
I'm liking
opposed
it.
to go?
People here seem oddly happy in a way which I don't like. It's just like...
Like you guys are both Sydney for like Sydney, born and raised.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I've been walking around, everyone's smiling, and they're not even walking in any major hurry. And I was just like, these people look like they're just content with life. And I'm like, do they know what's going on in the world?
But as a Sydney person, I've actually had a few people say to me recently from Sydney they're moving to Adelaide because of the cost of living, and they can get good joints for cheap.
All right. Yeah.
Not for you though, huh?
No, I'd rather suffer and be around miserable people.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we have a podcast together. I don't like it.
Yeah. Talk about miserable people.
Yeah, I'm
Do
the
you
guy.
talk about the fact that you're a homeowner, or is that cut?
No, we talked about it. I don't, I think it's fine.
I lie about it all the time. I own a home. I've been saying this bloody tough economy. I tell you, every year I'm up there like this. Us renters. Been a landlord for 6 years and a firm one at that.
See, I've still got my finger on the pulse. I'm living with my parents.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is it a bail condition there?
No, it was at one point. It was a lot easier to explain it when it was like court ordered, but now it's just like it's what I choose to do.
How are they with you? Do they want you gone?
No, they're happy. They're happy with me there, but I think it's going to be a while before I'm in a financial position to move back out. Without like, I could go back to drugs.
Yes,
you
yeah.
know, like and
Go
I
to,
could be.
go to the devil's grease.
Dude, once we get this out
There's
there.
money in the grease.
There's
But-
grease in them there hills. Come on.
Yeah. Now I've got a book coming out, and hopefully, if that sells well, I could potentially become a renter again.
As
Congrats.
a wog, I have to say I went home because in Perth I did the festival month there, but I do 3 weeks, and I go back and live with my mum. Fuck, man, wog mums every day. My clothes folded, ironed. They've given to me hot pre-show. She was like, "Here you go. I put your shirt back through the dryer so it was warm when you put it on."
Oh, that's so
I'm
good.
getting dips. I'm getting all sorts of food provided for me. I'm getting a lot of trauma. Also, she says a lot of horrible things about who I am as a person. But
the
still,
trade-off, is it worth
but
it?
the food, it's 100% worth it.
Yeah, I would take that deal.
There's a lot. Like, I don't care what she says about how disappointed she is about me. When you put on a crisp iron shirt, that's warm on you. That's the hug that she never gave me.
And what did you say? Dips?
clothes are
What
warmer
dips
than
are we
her?
talking?
Mum's, she lays out the hummus, the spinach dip, it's the capsicum. It was so good.
Oh,
but
brother.
my mum has a new family. She's got like two 10-year-olds.
Yep.
And this is quite an odd experience to watch your mum parent again. So I'm 32, my siblings are 10, and I watch how she talks to them, and it's like that is enough therapy for me to realize why I've got problems. Because I'm like, how can you talk to a little boy like that? And then I'm like, I was that little boy. Oh,
What was that thing? She's like, you're a dirty boy. You're just always dirty.
get down here now. And he'll come down there. You're just a grub, little boy. If you do not read, if you do not practice your violin, you will never be loved. He's like, she goes, stop stuttering. Men don't stutter. They speak properly.
Oh,
And it's
my
just
God.
like, and I'm listening to this from my room, and then Mum will come in and be like, "Hey, you ready to go to your show tonight?" And I'm just sitting there like, "It was you."
So
The call was coming from inside the house.
so your mum's
fucking mental,
You think
man.
she's consistent with the parenting the way she was with you when you were younger as well?
Harsher on us. We weren't allowed television.
Yeah, okay.
We were like, these kids, she's kind of old, so she lets them have the iPad.
Yeah, okay. So she's gone a bit soft.
And she's gone a little
She
bit.
lacks the energy to truly traumatize.
Okay.
Yeah, and look, but here's the thing. My mum was psychologically damaging, but I fucking loved it because she also made me do things. There's a lot of parents who let their kids be losers. My mum let me attempt to be a winner, but also hurt me.
Hamo, are you aware of the Swedish city of Stockholm?
Yeah. So I see where you're going with this.
I'm not familiar. No, my mum was like brutal. And I think people need a bit of brutality. You know.
Tough love.
I think the tough love is good. I don't really complain about it that much. It's like you should fucking be yelled at if you're doing poorly. But again, it did hurt. You know, she and I'm still trying to get my mum's approval. I said to her, "Mum, I got on the Netflix as a joke festival," and I was like, "I got to," you know, a lot of people are like, "Well done." Mum goes, "Is that going on Netflix?" And I said, "No, it's just a festival." She goes, "So what are we celebrating?" I said, "Well, you know, it was 500 comedians who were up for it, and I got into the last 10." She goes, "Okay, well, keep working." Now that does drive you along, doesn't it?
Do you see with this thing where I'm like, Amos is the man most in need of therapy?
Yeah. In many ways, she slapped me with a glove.
Similar thing.
I never hit her back because she's my mum.
When I was under house arrest, my dad saw a news story on TV about there was a guy got arrested with like 100 kilos of cocaine.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he goes, "Look at that. That's much more than the pathetic half kilo of mushrooms."
That's what you want to go away for.
Yeah. He was like, "It was much better than the fucking your shitty haul, mate." And I was embarrassed. Made me feel inadequate. I wanted to get back into drugs.
Mate, the comedy. What do your parents think of comedy? Do they see this as a wonderful thing, or are they a bit like, "Oh God, when's he going to find something that we can be proud of?"
They love it. I think
love
just
it?
me doing anything other than crime, I think like the bar was low, so they're like, "Look, he's just."
And also with comedy, they know where you are.
Yeah.
When you did crime, when did you first tell them I've been arrested?
Oh, they got a phone call.
They
I
got a
think,
phone call
from my ex-fiance when I got raided. Yeah.
But did they know that you were doing something or?
I think they were probably like, let's just not ask any questions. Some of this isn't all adding up, but like we'll just
Whatever. Parents can turn an amazing blind eye. Like
Absolutely.
I still remember like the first time I did ecstasy, I went to a rave when I was like 16, 17. And like my mum picked me up from the rave. And I was still like high as shit, like, woo, like dancing in like the kitchen and shit, which is not my vibe. And she never considered that I'd done drugs. She years later, I was like, "Yeah, Mum, I was high as shit."
You're like, "Oh, I just thought you were in a good mood."
No, she was just because she works in a drug and alcohol hospital, by the way, so she's aware of like drug symptoms.
Couldn't be him.
Couldn't be him. She was like, "Oh, God, I was so worried. I thought someone must have spiked your drink." Me, it's me. I spiked.
I remember my dad's like had his best mate at work one day got a call from his son. And his son had a fucking sawn-off shotgun down his mouth and it was making noises. And then he was like, "Dad, I owe these people a lot of money and you need to get the money out." And then my dad was like recounting the story to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, so his dad had to come up with like 25 grand, right?" And he goes, "But don't think you're going to get away with shit just because you're doing better than Jack. He goes, you've got your fucking hang-ups as well." He's like, Jack, yeah, he's done the wrong thing, but he's a good son. Clean. His dad reckons he's fucking clean around the house. So in my dad's realm, the fact that my fucking house was so messy and I treated my car like shit. That's I would rather you had 25 grand owed to the bikies than you just being a general little cunt that lives in my house.
25 grand is cheap.
It's like a
For the behaviour you're bringing
to
home.
have a good bloke living in the house. Jack and his dad get along. They go and play darts. You're off to the fucking comedy club.
He's into the Rebels for 25 grand, but he puts the toilet seat down and
You can't put a price on good behaviour.
At least he calls his dad every now and then. Where's my call? All I ask is to know what you're up to occasionally.
All right, we did it. We got out. Amos, where can the floggers find you?
Instagram.
Instagram?
Bit of Amos Gill on Instagram. That's where I'm going to put all my comedy stuff.
Yeah, you're putting clips out. Finally
Doing the clips
you
up.
got over your fucking head.
Got over
That
my
haircut in the last
haircut.
one, though. Jesus Christ. Mary messaged me as I was messaging her to be like, "I don't know about this haircut."
Bad. The good thing about my shit hair, because it's an old haircut I got before the Sydney Comedy Festival, it was a disaster. I did it in Manly by a Chinese barber.
How do you know it's Chinese? You ask him?
I just had a guess. He had that on the,
had
on
the
the
cat.
the cat on the counter. I'll tell you what, he wasn't German. And they really fucked me up on that.
It was very short on the sides, I think, from the video I saw.
Full
It was,
hedge.
yeah.
Yeah, so they did the sides. And
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is I get roasted so badly about my hair on that. I'm like, this is good for the engagement.
Yeah.
Good
We're
comment.
going viral.
You get the comments going about it.
Yeah.
It's the algorithm moving.
Yeah, so go on there and I don't know, come to I don't even have that. Come to Adelaide shows. Or,
You're doing shows all fest, right? You hear the whole festival.
yeah.
100% of the time.
Have you even got any Adelaide floggers?
Yeah.
You had floggers come to a show.
Had 2 floggers in the show. Both women. Crazy.
Really?
That is not what we expected.
That is.
You're going to see a noticeable dip this week.
Yeah, after the first 5 minutes. But no, thank you for coming to the show, the floggers. Yeah, 2 of them. And they were coming to see you as well. They were going.
Did it?
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're around because his ideas before this podcast was just to record my phone call. So he's really elevated his pod game. You found the person.
Let's not get carried away.
You found the pod. You
Well,
found the
we live in the same city. If we lived in the same city, I'd just fucking meet up with you once a week instead of answering the phone.
Although it would be a better podcast if he was back in prison and it was just your phone call, your weekly phone call to
Yeah,
each other.
that isn't a podcast. That's a 90s rap album.
You got to get me out of here.
No, but seriously, what do you think about Newington going co-ed? All right. Hammer Night at the Adelaide Fringe till February 25th. And we're back. Tom Witcombe is not on this week's episode because he's in Sydney protesting Newington going co-ed. He's outraged. I don't want to do a school shooting at a co-ed school. Boys only.
What about making the prisons co-ed? Let's stand behind that. Let's get some equality in the prisons.
All right. That's the end of the episode, folks. Really good stuff.
I can get behind that.
There's
Stay
toxic
flogged.
masculinity in there.
Stay flogged up. Check the dodgems. Hammer. End it.
Bye.